The Fiend has waited almost 4 months to exact revenge on Randy Orton for the events that unfolded back at WWE TLC in December. Bray Wyatt's alter ego only recently made his return to WWE, sporting a scary new look, after the Viper took their Firefly Inferno match too far and set the Fiend alight. There were rumors WWE was planning a gimmick match for the two men at WrestleMania, which would see Orton step into the Firefly Fun House, where the Fiend is undefeated. However, the match is now believed to be just a one-on-one encounter, with the cinematic match reportedly being pushed to the Money in the Bank pay-per-view in May. This means the outcome of the match may not have been determined as of making this video, and could be subject to change at the last minute. This is something Vince McMahon has been known to do with high-profile matches. Here are just 3 reasons why the Fiend should be the one to squash the Viper and 2 reasons why he shouldn't. Number 5. Why he should. Revenge for Randy Orton setting him on fire at WWE TLC. Randy Orton crossed the line back at tables, ladders, and chairs, and he needs to face some kind of punishment. Over the past few months, Alexa Bliss has ensured the Viper is unable to forget what he did to the Fiend back in December. But now the star himself is back, he should be out for revenge. Orton is the reason why the Fiend is now nothing more than charred skin and has become one of the scariest wrestlers in WWE. This WrestleMania match is also one the Fiend and Alexa Bliss challenged Orton to, which means that they obviously have a plan. They must have faith the Fiend will come out on top. At present, it's unclear what powers the Fiend has returned to WWE with. But with Alexa Bliss controlling him, it's hard to see him not coming out on top against Randy Orton, since he already has the psychological advantage. Orton has done enough things to the Fiend and Bray Wyatt over the years, and a squash match would allow the Fiend the retribution he deserves after a rough few years. Number 4. Why he shouldn't. Give Randy Orton a chance at WWE Money in the Bank. The Fiend is yet to wrestle a WWE match since making his return. It was believed WrestleMania would be a cinematic match that would allow him more time to get used to his burned persona. At present, there are rumors that the gimmick match between the two men may be taking place at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view instead, which gives WWE more time to continue to build this feud. Randy Orton wouldn't have been seen as someone who had a chance against the Fiend in a Firefly Fun House match at WrestleMania, since John Cena fell to the former universe most of the time. Number 3. Why he should. WWE could end the feud when the Fiend has his revenge. This feud has been going on for several months. Members of the WWE Universe have noted several times that the feud is becoming stale. Initially, there was reports there would be a cinematic match between the Fiend and Randy Orton at the Royal Rumble before it was then pushed to several other pay-per-views this year. Rumors now suggest it could be Money in the Bank where the feud comes to an end, when it could easily end with a squash match at WrestleMania. The Fiend deserves his revenge, and the Viper has refused to show any kind of remorse for his actions. If the feud came to an end at WWE WrestleMania in a match that only went on for a minute or so, it would allow the Fiend to take back his mantle as the creepy top star he once was. Then he could step into a new feud after WrestleMania. Number 2. Why he shouldn't. The Fiend may not have returned to WWE in full health. Randy Orton has been present on WWE programming every week over the past 4 months and has portrayed his role exceptionally well. The Viper has been forced into an intergender match, amongst other things, and has been trying to rid himself of Alexa Bliss and the Fiend for good. Whilst Orton is obviously the heel in this feud, since he did set the Fiend on fire, he is also the victim who has been unable to move on from what he did. Bliss has made sure that the Fiend comes back in his current form to set the record straight, but it could be that he isn't strong enough yet. After all, the last time the Fiend was seen he was sat motionless next to Alexa Bliss on a swing, looking like he was in a lot of pain. It could take a while before the Fiend returns to full health, and the Viper could take advantage of this at WrestleMania, if the former Universal Champion is unprepared. Number 1. Why he should. Revenge for his WWE Championship loss 4 years ago. WrestleMania isn't a place that holds great memories for Bray Wyatt, since the former WWE Champion lost the title to Randy Orton just 4 short years ago. Orton was initially part of the Wyatt family until he won the Royal Rumble in 2017, and turned on his leader in order to challenge for his championship. Wyatt only held WWE's most prestigious championship for a little over a month before he lost it to Orton. Then, when he was granted a rematch in a House of Horrors match at Payback, it wasn't for the title. This means that 4 years after Wyatt initially lost the championship to Orton, he still awaits a rematch for the title. This is just one of the frustrations that allowed Wyatt to manifest his issues into the Fiend in the first place. Gaining some kind of closure regarding one of the biggest frustrations of his short career could be the beginning of bringing back the old Bray Wyatt. Boom! Here are 5 reasons why WWE pulled the trigger on it. Number 5. It's the best version of Edge. Edge's prime years in WWE as a single star took place between 2005 to WrestleMania 27 in 2011. While he had challenged for the World Championship before that, it was the ultimate opportunist persona that truly shot him into the main event scene in WWE. It started with a Money in the Bank victory and ended with a whopping 11 World Championships to his name. In the time, his best run was spent as a heel. While he fluctuated back and forth between being a face and heel between 2010-2011, it was clear where his strength was. A perfect example can be seen in the final segment of this week's SmackDown. After Edge unleashed all his ruthlessness, he sat on the chair giving a few meaningful but powerful facial expressions that can only be done when he is a heel, and it's one of many examples to prove why he's simply better off in that role. Number 4. To get more attention ahead of WrestleMania 37. Edge and Shane McMahon are the only 2 part-time superstars in WWE competing at WrestleMania 37 this year. For once, there's no Goldberg, no Brock Lesnar, nor will The Undertaker return. Edge has a big responsibility and he will be expected to draw fans to the stadium as well as to get Peacock subscriptions. While we doubt that Edge has the same drawing power as Goldberg or Brock Lesnar, he's still an important part of WrestleMania 37. The move to turn Edge heel was perhaps a way of creating a buzz about the match. While babyface Edge is great and will always be cheered, a heel turn gives far more attention to the match. It's almost like WrestleMania 30 when Batista and Randy Orton were the heels to Daniel Bryan's ultimate babyface character. While it's under completely different circumstances, there might be something familiar about it for Bryan. But since this will be the headliner for the second night of WrestleMania 37, there needs to be as much hype and attention as possible.
Oh, let me up with a bright smile on now. Put me in the dark, so won't get lost now. To the moonlight, eyes you.